5 colors. Five colors is amazing. A lot of fun with 5 colors. 5 colors is your friend, and I want to be friends too. Hehehe. Amazing times with 5 colors. But wait, what's so scary about 5 colors? Tell me. The lands. Yes, the mana base. Want to play 5 colors? Well, good luck buying all the freaking dual lands, you jabronis. I sold my house and my kids to build my Sliver Queen deck, and was it worth it? A little bit. But those days are over. Bienvenue, Golos. Wait, Golos. What? Golos Tireless Pilgrim. He's a 5 mana 3/5 legendary artifact creature scout. When Golos Tireless Pilgrim enters the battlefield, you may search your library for a land card and put that card onto the battlefield tap. Then shuffle your library. Pay 2 colorless and 1 mana of each. Exile the top 3 cards of your library. You may play them this turn without paying their mana cost.
That's pretty good.
Wait, what? He's an artifact creature that only costs colorless and freaking ramps when he enters the battlefield? It's like Wizard was like, hey, let's make 5 color great again. And they did. This guy is the 5 color beginner friendly commander that won't cost you $1 million for the mana base. You don't need the dual lands. Heck, you don't even need the fetch lands. This is far from being a budget deck, so we will be playing the fetch lands. But if you're poor like all my friends, go ahead and pass on them because you don't have to play them. First off, we're gonna take a look at ramp and flickering, then how to abuse Golos, then our finishers and big spells, then the sweet lands we can play because yes, Golos can get any land. And to finish off our 5 color shiznit. So like Tom Cruise used to say, let's get the show on the road. First off, ramp and flickering. Triad of the Elysian Grove. He's a 3 mana 2/4 nymph. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. What, really? This doesn't ramp? I f***ing know, but it helps you pay for your shit, so it's in here. Oracle of Muldaya. 4 mana 2/2 elf shaman. You may play an additional land on each of your turns. Play with the top card of your library revealed. You may play the top card of your library if it's a land card. This card has been in every single green deck I've ever played. Yes, it's that good. You'll never be a Yu-Gi-Oh master if you don't play this.
My grandpa's deck has no pathetic cards, Kaiba.
Next up, Dockside Extortionist. He's a 2 mana 1/2 goblin pirate. When Dockside Extortionist enters the battlefield, create X treasure tokens, where X is the number of artifacts and enchantments your opponent control. Seriously, like what the f***? You don't even need flickers to make this guy amazing. I've won games out of nowhere with this goblin. You just give it a try, it's bonkers. Now, Raminep, Excavator, and Crucible of Worlds. You may play land cards from your graveyard. Now, if you don't plan on playing the fetches because your family is poor and you eat ramen noodles for supper each day, do not play these cards. They go hand in hand with the fetches because you can play them again from your graveyard. Otherwise, they don't do much. Now for a couple of mana rocks, Arcane Signet that basically reads add 1 mana of any color to your mana pool. Chromatic Lantern, 3 mana, lands you control have add 1 mana of any color. Tap to add 1 mana of any color. Hey! Fixes your colors and ramps. Mamma Mia or Manna Mia. See what I did there? Okay. And now a new card. Oh, new card alert, new card alert. Chromatic Orrery. It's a 7 mana legendary artifact. You may spend mana as though it were mana of any color. Tap to add 5 colorless. Pay 5, tap, draw a card for each color among permanents you control. Yep, you get this out there pretty soon in this deck and it helps you pay for Golos' ability pretty easily. And the draw ability is just the pepperonis on top. Now I didn't want to play like a million mana rocks and shit out Golos on turn 3. I'd rather play flickers and flicker Golos each turn to ramp instead. Soul Herder. He's a 3 mana 1/1 spirit. Whenever a creature is exiled from the battlefield, put a +1/+1 counter on Soul Herder. No, that's not the reason we're playing him. At the beginning of your end step, you may exile another creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. So ramping each turn for any land seems good. Thassa Deep Dwelling. She's a 4 mana 6/5 legendary enchantment creature god.
Wow.
As long as your devotion to blue is less than 5, Thassa is in a creature. At the beginning of your end step, exile up to 1 target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Pay 4, tap another target creature. Another flicker, but this one is indestructible because you. Cloud Shift, 1 mana instant, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. I mean, it's Avacyn, the art, the flavor, we love it. And use this on Golos to basically pay 1 mana to ramp for any land. Next up, Ephemerate. 1 mana instant, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under its owner's control. Rebound. So it's like Cloud Shift but better because it has Rebound. And Ghostly Flicker, 3 mana instant, exile 2 target artifacts, creatures, and or lands you control, then return those cards to the battlefield under your control. This one is pretty dumb because you can flicker Gaia's Cradle or Chromatic Orrery and just go Michael Jackson mode on everybody. I'm not sure what that means, but whatever. Momentary Blink, 2 mana, instant, exile target creature you control, then return that card to the battlefield under your control. Flashback for 4, so hey, why not Coconut? Now how to abuse Golos. Biomancer's Familiar. He's a 2 mana 2/2 mutant. Activated abilities of creatures you control cost 2 less to activate. So we're getting rid of that 2 random colorless mana in Golos' ability. Training Ground does the exact same thing, but it's an enchantment, so it's a bit better because it can die to basically everything. Next up, Seedborn Muse. 5 mana 2/4 spirit. Untap all permanents you control during each other player's untap step. Oh boy, making you activate Golos each and every turn.
Why don't we just relax?
Now for some big mana cards. Activating Golos 1,000,000 time cards. Mana Reflection. 6 mana enchantment. If you would tap a permanent for mana, it produces twice as much of that mana instead.
Impossible!
Doubles your mana rocks as well. The Rock approved. Mirari's Wake. Wake the fuck up, Mirari. Time to activate Golos. Creatures you control get +1/+1. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land can produce. And Zendikard's Resurgent. 7 mana enchantment. Whenever you tap a land for mana, add 1 mana to your mana pool of any type that land could produce. Whenever you cast a creature spell, draw a card.
Hey, boss.
Does the same as Mirari's Wake, but with a draw ability as well. I'll take it. Now there's a couple of tutors that are bonkers in this deck. Tutors that put shit on top of your library. Worldly Tutor. Search your library for a creature card, reveal it, shuffle your library, and put that card on top of it. So grab any creature you want, activate Golos, slam that shit on the battlefield. So spicy. Mystical Tutor lets you grab an instant or sorcery card and puts it on top of your library. And Enlightened Tutor lets you grab an artifact or enchantment and slams it on top of your library. Now for a bit of top deck manipulation, amazing with Golos. Brainstorm. Draw 3 cards and put 2 cards from your hand on top of your library in any order. So grab the shit you want to hit with Golos from your hand and put it on top of your library. Activate Golos and watch the world burn. Ponder. Look at the top 3 cards of your library, then put them back in any order. You may shuffle your library. Draw a card, and not as good as Brainstorm, I know, but it can get rid of some lands you wouldn't want to hit with Golos' ability. Next up, a personal favorite of mine, Noxious Revival. It's a 1 Phyrexian green mana instant. Put target card from a graveyard on top of its owner's library.
So good.
So whatever big spells you're gonna cast with Golos, you can get it back and start all over again. Jesus Christ. Now for la creme de la creme, our finishers and big spells. You can go crazy with this and play anything you want, but you gotta play the Eldrazi package.
You don't scare me.
Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, 10 mana, 10/10 Eldrazi. When you cast Ulamog the Ceaseless Hunger, exile 2 target permanents. Indestructible. Whenever Ulamog attacks, defending player exiles the top 20 cards of his or her library. Ha? This guy's on steroids, I mean, come on. Might as well play the OG Ulamog as well, the Infinite Gaia. He's an 11 mana 10/10 Eldrazi. When you cast a spell, destroy target permanent. Indestructible. Annihilator 4. Yes, Annihilator. The team at Wizards was high as when they came up with this one. Now, Kozilek the Great Distortion. He's a 10 mana 12/12 Eldrazi. When you cast Kozilek the Great Distortion, if you have fewer than 7 cards in hand, draw cards equal to the difference. Menace. Discard a card with converted mana cost X. Counter target spell with converted mana cost X. That counter spell ability is so freaking dumb, I love it. The art, the flavor, gets me hard as a rock. Now OG Kozilek, a Butcher of Truth.
You can't handle the truth.
He's a 10 mana 12/12 Eldrazi. When you cast a spell, draw 4 cards. Annihilator 4. Fills your hand because why not Coconut? And of course, Big Daddy himself, Emrakul the Promised End. He's a 13 mana 13/13 Eldrazi. Emrakul the Promised End costs 1 less to cast for each card type among cards in your graveyard. When you cast Emrakul, you gain control of target opponent's turn during that player's next turn. After that turn, that player takes an extra turn. Flying, trample, protection from instants. Now remember, when we hit cards with Golos, we get to cast them, so you do get all the cast abilities from Eldrazi's. Holy macaroni. Next up, Maelstrom Wanderer. He's an 8 mana 7/5 elemental. Creatures you control have haste. Cascade, Cascade. So hitting this with Golos will let you cascade 2 times, and then you can hit face with all the creatures you hit because they have haste now. A must play in this deck. Nyx Bloom Ancient. Why double when you can triple, right? Welcome to Magic 2020. 7 mana 5/5 elemental. Trample. if you would tap a permanent for mana, it produces 3 times as much as that mana instead. What the hell? Omnath, Locust of Rage, 7 mana 5/5 elemental, landfall. Whenever a land enters the battlefield under your control, put a 5/5 red and green elemental creature token onto the battlefield. Whenever Omnath, Locust of Rage, or another elemental you control dies, Omnath deals 3 damage to target creature or player. If we can get Golos flickering each turn and grabbing fetches, Omnath can get out of hand pretty darn fast. And finally, a card we never see, but I think it's quite good, Bringer of the Black Dawn. He's a 9 mana 5/5 Bringer. You may pay 1 color of each color rather than pay Bringer of the Black Dawn's mana cost. Trample. At the beginning of your upkeep, you may pay 2 life. If you do, search your library for a card, then shuffle your library and put that card on top of it. I know you draw that card right away, so you can't hit it with Golos, but a Vampiric Tutor each turn seems pretty good. Now we're playing a couple of Planeswalkers, and no, not those little shits, Jaces or Teferis, the only walker we need to play. Nicol Bolas, Planeswalker. Hey, cool name, bro.
Excited.
He costs 8 mana, comes into play with 5 loyalty counters, +3, destroy target non-creature permanent, -2, gain control of target creature, -9, Nicol Bolas deals 7 damage to target player, then that player discards 7 cards, then sacrifices 7 permanents. Kinda does everything, plus he's fucking cool, so there you go. Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh. 7 mana comes into play with 7 loyalty counters. Take a look at this. +2, target opponent exiles cards from the top of his or her library until he or she exiles a non-land card. Until end of turn, you may cast that card without paying its mana cost. Okay, +1, each opponent exiles 2 cards from his or her hand, -4. Nicol Bolas, God Pharaoh deals 7 damage to target opponent or creature an opponent controls, and -12, exile each non-land permanent your opponent controls. Probably the best +2 ability of any Planeswalkers, plus he's a god, say no more. Now the cream of the crop, fun for days. It's pretty simple, play all the extra turn cards. Hit one with Golos, hit another one next turn, hit another one next turn, hit another one until all your friends rage quit. Beacon of Tomorrows. Target player takes an extra turn after this one. More turns. Karn's Temporal Sundering. Target player takes an extra turn after this one. Give me more turns. Temporal Manipulation. Take an extra turn after this one. Even more turns. Temporal Mastery. Take an extra turn after this one. Miracle. Your friends. Temporal Trespass. Take an extra turn after this one. All your friends. Time Warp. Target player takes an extra turn after this one. How many fucking cards like these did they print? And Time Stretch. Target player takes 2 extra turns after this one. Ha! Fun for days. Now for some more big spells in Garruk's Wake. Wake up, Garruk. 9 mana, destroy all creatures you don't control and all planeswalkers you don't control. Or even better, Ruinous Ultimatum. 7 mana, destroy all non-land permanents your opponent controls. Jesus Christ, wizards, what the f***? And of course, with all these big spells, Omniscience. You may cast spells from your hand without paying their mana cost. The original Rage Quit card. Now you're probably thinking, bro, this is a 5-color deck. How can we play colorless lands? We're gonna get f***ed. Hey bro, this is Golos. First off, I usually get Field of the Dead. Whenever Field of the Dead or another land enters the battlefield under your control, if you control 7 or more lands with different names, create a 2/2 black zombie creature tokens, and it taps for 1 colorless. We remember this getting banned left and right. Well, yeah, it's that good. Then I usually get Field of the Dead's best friend, Gaia's Cradle. Tap to add 1 green mana to your mana pool for each creature you control. They go hand in hand.
Yeah, boy.
And with all these big sorcery cards, we run Boseiju. Tap, pay 2 life, add 1 colorless mana to your mana pool. If that mana is spent on an instant or sorcery spell, that spell can be countered by spells or abilities. Just in case we're playing against an annoying land go blue player. Ew. Next up, Urborg. Each land is a swamp in addition to its other land types. And of course, his buddy, Cabal Coffers. Pay 2 tap, add 1 black to your mana pool for each swamp you control. Getting any land with Golos makes getting these pieces easy as hell. Now we are running Valakut in this deck. Whenever a mountain enters the battlefield under your control, if you control at least 5 other mountains, you may have Valakut the Molten Pinnacle deal 3 damage to target creature or player. Tap to add 1 red mana to your mana pool. Now you may ask, but why? This is a 5-color deck. Because we're running Prismatic Omen. Lands you control are every basic land type in addition to their other types. And Dryad of the Elysian Grove. Remember? Lands you control are every basic land type. So I thought killing people with Valakut could be a fun idea. Now for a 5-color Shiznit.
You could do so. You could.
Maelstrom Nexus. Costs 1 color of each. The first spell you play each turn has Cascade. You can trigger this off while casting stuff with Golos' ability as well. And watch all the value. Next up, Conflux. It's an 8 mana sorcery that costs 1 color of each. Search your library for a white card, a blue card, a black card, a red card, and a green card. Reveal those cards and put them into your hand, then shuffle your library. What more to say, pretty bonkers. And just in case Golos can't stick around, Fist of Suns and Joda Archmage Eternal, you may pay 1 mana of each color rather than pay the mana cost for spells you cast, helping us pay for our big spells with 1 mana of each color. So have fun with Golos, and have fun in real life with all the money you'll save. Buy a boat, buy a goat, buy a coat.